Hello, this is Math 18 Practice Test 1. So these are the problems that you should be practicing on to get you ready for the first test. So number 1, it says place the correct symbol less than or greater than between the two numbers. So we have negative 11 and 14. Well, every negative number is always smaller than positive. So negative 11 is less than 14. 0 and negative 35. Well, 0 is bigger than every negative number out there, so 0 is greater than negative 35. Number 3, we have negative 44 and negative 14. Well, think about your number line. Negative 44 is to the left of negative 14, so that's going to make it less than. And number 4, negative 21 and negative 34. Once again, if you picture the number line in your head, negative 21 is going to come first to the left, and then further to the left would be negative 34. So that means that the negative 21 is greater than, because it's to the right of negative 34. Okay, so on number 5, we have the operation of taking the opposite of negative 48. So the opposite of negative 48 would be positive 48. Now, 6 and 7 are both absolute value. Remember, the sign of your answer is outside the absolute value sign. Since there's no opposite sign out front, absolute value is always positive, so it'd be positive 75. But number 7, we do have an opposite sign out front. So whenever we're taking the opposite of an absolute value, the opposite of something that's always positive is always going to be negative. So you'd get negative 18. And number 8, we're back to the opposite operation. The opposite of 33, a positive 33, the opposite would be negative 33. Now, 9 through 14, we're looking at adding problems, okay? So remember your two rules for addition, okay? If the signs are the same, you add and keep the sign. And if the signs are different, you subtract and keep the larger sign, the sign of the larger number. Okay? So look at number 9. Negative 2 plus negative 6. Those signs are the same, so we're going to add and keep the sign. That would be negative 8. Number 10. Negative 14 plus 14. They're different, so we subtract, and you just get 0. Number 11, negative 2 plus negative 7. Signs are the same, so we add and keep the sign, which gives you negative 9. Number 12, negative 7 plus 1. The signs are different, so we subtract and keep the larger sign. So the 7 is the bigger number, so we keep that negative, and when we subtract we get 6, negative 6. Number 13, the signs are the same, negative 6 and negative 64. So once again we add, keep the sign, which would give us negative 70. And number 14, 77 plus negative 85, the signs are different, so we have to subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, so we know it's going to be a negative. And what the heck is that? 8, right? So that's for the addition rules there. Alright, here we have a couple more for addition. Now, on number 15, we have two positive numbers and we have two negative numbers. So I'm going to add the like signs first. 12 plus 8 would be 20, and then negative 25 and negative 9 is going to be a negative 34. Okay, because you add those and keep the sign. Now, you have a positive and a negative. The signs are different, so the rule is subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So it's going to be a negative because the 34 is larger. And when we subtract there, we get 14. So negative 14. All right, 16 and 17 are translation problems. It says, what is 6 more than negative 8? So more than is telling us to do addition. Since we want it to be more than negative 8, we start with negative 8 and we add 6 to it. So negative 8 plus 6, you have to subtract there. That would give you negative 2, keeping the sign of the larger number. Now, number 17 says what is negative 9 added to negative 23. So we're going to have negative 23 plus negative 9 because we're adding it to it. Okay? The signs are the same, so we have to add and keep the sign, which gives you negative 32. Now, the rest of the problems on this slide are all about subtraction. So remember, what you want to remember about subtraction is keep, change, opposite. Okay? So, that's what we're going to do first. That's an I. So 1 minus 8 would be rewritten as 1 plus negative 8 because you did keep, change, opposite. Now you follow your addition rule. So we subtract and keep the bigger sign. So that would be negative 7. Number 19 we would rewrite as negative 8 plus negative 6. Keep, change, opposite. Now the signs are the same, so we add, keep the sign, you get negative 14. And number 20, let's see if I can squish this in down here. If we change our signs, we're going to have negative 9 stays the same, change to addition, and the opposite of negative 8 would be positive 8. And now negative 9 plus 8, the signs are different, so you subtract, keep the bigger sign, you get negative 1. Okay, here's some more subtraction. So same thing, keep, change, and opposite. Okay, so negative 8 stays the same, plus positive 2. Change and take the opposite. Then subtract, keep the bigger sign, so that would be negative 6. Okay, 22, do the same thing. Keep the negative 14, change it to addition, take the opposite would become negative 18. Okay, now that they're both the same sign, we add and keep the sign, so that would make that negative 32. Alright, 23, that's a doozy. Alright, so we have negative 30 stays the same, add, change it to addition, plus, and then the opposite is going to become positive 69. Now the 69 becomes the keep sign, the keep number, change it to addition, and the opposite of 29 would be negative 29. Okay, and then again the 29, the negative 29 is your keep number, change it to addition, and take the opposite of 2 would be, negative 2. Alright, I didn't really leave myself a lot of room here. So I'm going to add the three negatives together. So 30, 20, and 29 would be negative 59, plus 2 more would be negative 61. Okay, is that right? Yeah. Plus a positive 69. So I got the 61 by adding 30, 29, and 2, and that gave me negative 61. Now I'm going to subtract because the signs are different and keep the larger sign, so it's going to be positive 8. And that's your answer there. Okay, 24. What is 10 less than negative 19? So less than, that's the one where whatever's in front of those two words has to go to the end and get subtracted. So if you want 10 less than negative 19, that's how you're going to write that. Negative 19 minus 10. So we're going to do keep, change, opposite. So it becomes a negative 10. Now the signs are the same, so I add and keep the sign, negative 29. Now number 25, find negative 27 decreased by 18. This one goes right in order. Negative 27 minus 18. So you do keep, change it to addition, and opposite, negative 18. Okay, the signs are the same, so I'm going to add and keep the sign, which would be negative 45. Okay, now 26, we're getting into our multiplication rules. So here with multiplication, if the signs are the same, it's positive, and if they're different, let me make that an equal sign, it's negative. Okay, so these signs are the same, so it's going to be a positive, and 7 times 18 is, carry a 5, 126, and it'd be positive. Okay, alright, big numbers. Okay, so 27 A positive times a negative is going to be a negative, and I don't know what 19 times 11 is, and I also forgot to bring my stinking calculator, so we're going to do it the old school way. So you should get 209. I hope that's right because I did that fast. Let's see, 1 and then 0, 1, 9 and 1. Okay, 1 and 9 is 10. Carry that 1. Yep, okay. So now the next one, 28. Remember how about the rule with negatives? We have 3 negative factors, okay, which means it's going to be a negative answer. So 8 times 6 is going to be 48 times 4. So we get 32, carry a 3, 16 and 3 would be 19. So we should end up with, let me move this down, negative 192. Okay, so what you should be doing on these is let the calculator multiply the numbers for you, but don't try and do the signs on your calculator. Know the sign rules in your head and just do, 48 times 4 on the calculator or 19 times 11. Don't worry about signs. Number 29, a negative times a negative is always a positive, so we would get positive 88. Okay, and here we have 2 negative factors. Okay, and if we do the first 2 and the last 2, we get 28 times 28, which once again I have no idea what that is. So let's see, carry a 6, 16 and 6 is 22. Put down a 0, carry a 1, 5. So we get 4, 8, 784. I hope that's right. So you get a positive 784. All right, now the next one, again with the big numbers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 negative factors, okay, which means we're going to get a positive answer. So we have 9 times 2 is 18, and 7 times 10 is 70. Now we can make this a little bit shorter. Just multiply 18 times 7 and we'll stick a 0 on at the end. So 7 times 8 is 56, and when we carry a 5, that's going to be 12, and add the 0 on. So you should get 1260, positive 1260. All right, 32, we're getting into our division problems. So same rules just like we had for multiplication. If the signs are the same, positive. If the signs are different, it's a negative. Okay, so 12 divided by negative 2, the signs are different. It's going to give me negative 6. All right, and number 33, we have 60 divided by negative 4, so signs are different. It's going to be a negative, and that goes into that 15 times. Number 34, 45 divided by negative 9, signs are different, so that's going to be a negative, and you get negative 5. 35, we get negative 56 divided by negative 7, the signs are the same, so that's going to be positive, so you get positive 8. 36, let's see, we have negative 64 divided by 8, the signs are different, so it's going to be a negative, negative 8. 37, 2 divided by 0. So that's like a number divided by 0. No, it's telling you can't do it. It's undefined. Okay, 0 divided by negative 13 is just 0 because you can check that. Okay, it's like 0 divided by a number. Okay, so you get 0. Okay, now we're into exponents. So on the first one here, we have a parentheses of a negative 5 squared. So you're going to work out negative 5 times negative 5, which is going to give you positive 25. Now on number 40, remember there's no parentheses. So if there's no parentheses, that sign comes into your answer every single time, no matter what. And the answer will always be negative. So here we just need to multiply 5 4 times. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25, and 25 there. Okay, and we still keep our negative, and 25 times 25 is 625. So you get a negative 625. All right, 41. Here we have negative 1 to the 9th. So we have 9 negative factors. That means that's still going to be a negative, and it's still going to be a negative 1, times 3 to the third. So I'm going to do that up here so I have room. So 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 would be 27. So a negative 1 times 27 gives you negative 27. That's your final answer there. Okay, 42, we have negative 9. You can keep it in parentheses if you want to, but you don't have to. And 2 squared, that's 2 times 2, that's 4. So negative 9 times 4 gives you negative 36. Okay? All right, 43, again, we have no parentheses, which means that sign comes down into your answer every time. So 5 to the third, we're going to multiply 5 times 5 times 5, which would be 25 times 5 would be negative 125. All right, 44, we have 3 times negative 3 squared. So that's going to be 3, and then we're going to multiply negative 3 times negative 3. Okay, so we have 3 times a positive 9, because that's what we get there. 2 negatives gives me positive 9, and 3 times 9 would be 27. All right, now the next problems are order of operations. So you want to remember your order of operations, PEMDAS. So we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay, so look at this first problem. We have subtraction, division, and addition. So we don't have any parentheses, we don't have any exponents. We're down to the multiplying, dividing part. So you're going to start with the division there. So we have 28 minus, and you're going to divide. 12 divided by 4 is 3 plus 2. So now you're left with subtraction and addition. So you do those left to right. So 28 minus 3 is 25 plus 2. You just do plain old subtraction. And 25 plus 2 gives you 27. All right, number 46. We have subtraction, division, and an exponent. So, and parentheses, but they're there just mostly for the exponent. So we're going to start with that exponent on this problem. So bring everything else down, and we're going to work out negative 2 times negative 2. We're going to square that negative 2. So that's going to be positive 4. That's what we get there. So now subtract or divide. Right, you're going to divide. So 23 comes down and the minus sign. 16 divided by 4 is just 4. And now it's just plain old subtraction. 23 minus 4 would be 19. Okay? Here's some more order of operations problems. So be careful on 47 here because you have addition, division, and multiplication. A lot of people will want to multiply first, but that's wrong. It says do multiplying and dividing as they occur left to right. Well, the division occurs first, so we're going to divide as our first step. So bring down the 6. 18 divided by 2 is 9 times 3. Now, you have addition or multiplication. So you're going to multiply. Remember your order of operations up here. Okay? So multiplication comes before addition. So we bring down the 6 and the plus sign, and 9 times 3 would be 27. So now we just add and you get 33. Okay, 48. We've got subtraction, we've got grouping symbols, multiplication, division, all kinds of stuff. We're going to start with the parentheses is where we're going to start. So bring down the 7 and the 12 and the minus sign. Now 4 minus 1, just subtract there. You just get 3. So the parentheses are gone, but the brackets are still there because we simplified the operation in the parentheses. So now we're still working in a grouping symbol with the brackets. So we're going to subtract 12 minus 3 would be 9. But you have to keep the brackets there to show multiplication. Okay? So the 7 and the 9, that's multiplication, and we have division. So we do those left to right. 7 times 9 is 63 divided by 9, which gives you 7. Okay? In that case, that's a very, rare case. If you did the division first, it would still work, but a lot of problems it won't, so you want to make sure you do those left to right. Okay, so here we have number 49, and we have subtraction, exponents, and subtraction. So we're going to start with that exponent, and we're going to do -3 times -3. And everything else is just going to come down the way it's written. Okay? So we have 3 and the minus sign. -3 times -3 is just 9, just plain old 9, minus -7. So it's all subtraction. So now we're going to do keep, change, opposite. So we're going to have 3, keep that the same, change it to addition. The opposite would become -9, and then change it to addition, and the opposite would become +7. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine my two positive numbers. 3 plus 7 would be 10 plus -9. And now the rule is the signs are different, so we subtract, keep the bigger number, and we get +1. All right, number 50. Here we have, let's see here, you're going to start with that fraction bar. You've got to get that all simplified first. So we're going to keep 24 and the division sign. 2 squared on top, 2 times 2 is 4. And on the bottom we can just subtract. 9 minus 7 would be 2. And we still have minus -7 out here at the end. Okay? So our next step is to finish simplifying the fraction. So we have 24 divided by 4 divided by 2 is just 2 minus -7. So now divide or subtract. Right, your division comes next. So 24 divided by 2 is 12 minus -7. So now you want to change your signs because of the subtraction. So that would be 12, keep that the same, plus the opposite of -7 would be +7. And 12 plus 7 gives you 19. And I think that's it, but let's check and make sure. Yep, that's it. So those problems should help you get ready for test 1.